How do we respond whenever we hear a definite calling of God upon our lives? I definitely think the measure of our faith is a contributing factor to our response. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts from God's Word for Monday. We have been considering what faith looks like and what it causes a person to do as recorded in this Hall of Fame of Faith in Hebrews chapter 11. In verse 8, Abraham is mentioned as an example of responding to God by faith. Hebrews 11:8 says, "By faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place where he would receive an inheritance. And he went out, not knowing where he was going." You see, obedience is absolutely necessary to show our faith to the Lord. Sometimes the calling of God seems to be a strange request that we can't really answer because it sounds too bizarre. We think we may have misunderstood. Abraham was very comfortable living among his family. When God called him out to leave all that comfort behind and go to a land that he didn't even know, perhaps one of the most difficult things to do in obedience to God's calling is to leave our comfort zone. That is the place where we live, where we know the people. Perhaps we speak their language or we're active in that community. But when God called for Abraham to leave everything behind and follow, he was planning for generations of people to come after him as a chosen people. These would be the example before the world of what it is like to follow God. They would receive his blessings and his protection in this world. He is actually calling us to that same task today, to leave all and follow the Lord and even show the world what our God is like in his direction, in his blessing, even in his protection. When Abraham was called out to follow God, the Bible simply says he obeyed. I'm sure there are a lot of things that went into this obedience, maybe some questions or maybe some doubts. But this kind of faith shown in Hebrews 11 says, I will go no matter what. He went out not knowing where he was going. This was huge because God would carry him across much of the known world in that time. But the great reward was that he would receive this promised land as an inheritance from God for his faithfulness and his obedience. One of the most interesting points about Abraham is all his faith and his obedience in his journey. He never really knew this land as his own. He traveled as a sojourner across Palestine in those days. It wasn't until some 4 generations or more that the children of Israel actually came into this promised land and received their inheritance. But it was all because Abraham believed in God, and because of his great faith in God, he obeyed and went to the place where God had called him. I hope that our faith today calls for us to obey no matter what the task.